Welcome to String Theory.
I don't know if that's how that ends.
I'm your host, the Gaelic Gimp, J.P. Cormier, and we're still, and one of the dogs has just shit themselves in a mighty fashion. Phew, Jack, I think, has done.
It's the nearest to you.
Yeah, he's really just pulled a number on me. Whew. Welcome to String Theory.
From the living room.
From the living room. Tonight I decided to get fucking drunk because I can't get out of the house. So I've already been and drank a whole bottle of scotch before we started. So we're just, so you got scotch. So
Oh dear.
thanks for our sponsors. G&G Music up in Antigonish, Glen Hotel. Bless your heart, buddy. As always. Fantasy Music in Halifax. Boucher Guitars. Recording King. Yamaha. Gallagher. K&K Sound. And a bevy of other people who I love. Who know who you are if I forget you. I still have never made a list. How many weeks have we been doing this? 27 weeks now?
Enough to make a list.
Oh man. Oh, Jesus. Jack, what did you eat? You can't feed him pasta anymore.
Apparently.
Whew.
Jack had spaghetti for supper.
Okay, so we're going to hear our string theory. Jesus. Jack usually doesn't sit this close to me during the show. Thank God. I'm going to get back to the studio so I can get rid of that. Jesus, boy. You had a rough time over there, buddy. Eh?
He's fine with it. He's a fine
Yeah,
dog.
he doesn't care at all. Yeah. So, there we go, boys. We had another 5-6 weeks or something of staggering around on crutches and canes. So, hopefully, be able to go downstairs this week, which would mean I could leave the house, which would be awesome. I may just keep on going. I'll just drive to Arkansas or somewhere. Just see what happens. All right. Who do we have first on the programming tonight? Ginger?
The first question is, how long does it take to break into quality a new acoustic guitar?
Well, 30 years. There's no answer to that question. It all depends on who you are and how you play. So if you play the guitar a lot and hard, like you would live, it takes a lot less time to break in. But guitars generally literally start to open up within the first half an hour. So if you're playing the guitar and it's a good guitar, the sound and projection, tone, and all those things will continue to increase over a period of hours while you're playing it. Yamahas are very good for that. They literally change sometimes with your body heat. So it's always a good idea to hold the guitar against you when you're playing a new guitar. Body heat actually helps open that up, and it may sound funny, but it's true. The warmth of your body makes things open up and vibrate more than they would as if it was just laying in the case cold. So yeah, you'll have no problem. It was an FG5, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna have no problem with that guitar. Plus it's mahogany, which means it's gonna open up a bit slower than rosewood. Because mahogany's already on puke when you buy it, so it's gonna get better, but it just won't be the same thing. Rosewood is tight and doesn't sound as good out of the case. So when it opens up, it's a big deal, but mahogany comes out of the case sounding like cannon. So it'll open up, but it isn't going to be any great, revelation. And the guitar will get better gradually over years as well, until it, as my mother used to say, time will tell, shit will smell, water will seek its own level. And that's the way guitars are. They get to whatever level they're capable of, and they stay there. God damn, this is good scotch. Okay, where are we at now?
I've got John
I
Crawley.
can't feel my leg, John. I just want you to know that I can't feel a fucking thing below the knee. It's all good now. Okay, go ahead.
He's from Texas. Says
Texas. I was in Texas 1,000 times in Texas. I wish I knew where he was from. I used to play all around Beaumont. I even played in Cut and Shoot, the place that you probably know where that's at, up north there. But yeah, Texas is a great spot. What's the question?
If you could play a duet with any musician, living or past, who would it be and why?
Chet Atkins. No question. That would be my dream come true to play anything with Chet Atkins. Because he was the greatest guitar player that ever lived. And although I met him several times and played in front of him, played for him and stuff, we never picked up guitars together. It was very unfortunate. We could have, but I didn't want to press the issue. You know, of course, everybody wants to play with Chet Atkins, right? So I didn't do that when I was around him. But if I could go back in time, I would probably pursue that with more zest than I did initially. But I was young and frightened, so I didn't do it. But I could have. He was a super nice man. He was super nice to me. So, but definitely Chet Atkins, no question. Who's next?
We have a super chat comment, I guess, from Jeff Gallant.
Hi, Jeff.
Says, if you think Jack is bad, try giving it Pitbull sweet chili heat Doritos.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think Jack's got pasta farts. Ginger was determined to show Jack eating fettuccine in slow motion.
You'll see this later. It's going up tonight.
It's going up on the members. It's going to go up on the members site, right?
I was going to put it up for everybody.
Okay, put it up for the world then.
Yeah.
Jack eats fettuccine out of the air in slow motion with accompanying banjo music.
It's YouTube gold.
YouTube gold. So there you go. Yeah.
Anywho, next we have Caper Away.
Caper Away. Good to see you again.
So I just picked up a used FGX3 at L&M in Halifax. I'm going to put on elixirs and Tusk spring pegs. Is there anything else I should do to change the guitar?
No, you're all set. And I believe I know the guitar you bought because it was in the room there when I found the Fender Newporter I just reviewed on the channel. So that guitar, that was a nice guitar. You got a good one. The FG3s, while they're not built in Japan, they're built in China at the factory in China, but it's still a bench factory, which means it's not machines. It's just a larger group of people using some tools, some power tools, and building the guitars. They're just as good as the FG5s, in my opinion. It depends on the body size too. I think that was an FS5, right, that you bought. But as I said, I saw.
He says FGX3.
FGX3, sorry, yeah. So yeah, I saw that guitar hanging in there. It was used. And I was wondering why it was used. People are weird. Always surprises me sometimes the guitars you see used that people get that. But I think there's a lot of people like me, except I don't necessarily just trade guitars because I want to trade them. I trade guitars because I don't feel I'm playing them enough. And they're probably not that valuable. I don't trade my valuable instruments unless they're going to somebody that where I know where they'll be and stay for the rest of my life. There's been some instruments that I've sold over the years for large sums of money that went to collectors that I knew, and literally some of those guitars are in their houses under glass, so I know exactly where they are. If I ever really wanted them, I could buy them back. And it surprises me what I see hanging around used. That it's really shocking that they would trade it. But you know, guitar is subjective, right? So a fella could pick up an FG guitar or Taylor or Martin, whatever, and get it home and play it for 3 months and realize it's just not physically his guitar. And so it does make a little bit of sense. Hi, Bean. You come over here to fart too? Yeah. Come on up.
She's beguiled by the
Come on,
crutches.
Had a Bean. What a good Bean. I wonder if anybody can see it. Can you see Bean?
Yep.
Bean's happy, yeah. Bean's been watching over me for days now. She knows my leg is hurt. She jumped up on me today and licked my knee through my pajamas for a half an hour, which she's never done ever. You're a good old dog, yes you are. So there's Bean, Chili Bean. Who's next?
Herschel Rector.
Herschel, I love that name, Herschel Rector.
What is your opinion of using boiled linseed oil on guitar fretboard, and how often?
It's the best thing you can put on a fretboard. And did he say boiled?
Boiled linseed oil.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's a
It comes
That's a-
boiled in the
that's
little
a-
packages, isn't it?
that's a type of linseed oil. I wouldn't put hot oil on the fretboard.
No.
Some people do.
Not boiling.
Yeah, but yeah, linseed oil is the best thing you can put on your fretboard. And also, people use almond oil, olive oil, basically any organic oil that's not so great for eating. Like usually the linseed is pretty gross. Can't cook. You can't eat linseed oil, but there's something about linseed. It does wonders for fretboards. It'll bring the grain out. It'll keep the whole fretboard supple and more accepting of the fret tangs, and keep the fretboard from shrinking and contracting as much. So it's incredibly healthy. I suggest that every single guitar player does it. And it's literally as simple as just taking a rag in your finger and just going, take all the strings off, rag, finger, oil, just rub it right in hard like you're rubbing just rub it in like a varnish, and it'll just, and me telling you this, I haven't done that to my guitars for 30 years. I don't do it, and I should. And there used to be actually fretboard conditioners that were coincidental, because there was a product, I think may still exist, called Fast Fret, and it was in a little bronze can. It was like a sponge brush, and what it was for was cleaning your strings off, but it had linseed oil in it. So by cleaning the strings off and keeping the strings alive when you were using shitty uncoated strings 25 years ago, the linseed oil in that product would keep the fretboard conditioned. So yeah, it's invaluable. And also put it on the bridge. Just take it on the bridge and condition the bridge. You can't go wrong with it. Any part of the guitar that's not got finish on it, don't ever put it on finish. It'll ruin finish. But any part that's raw, your fretboard, your bridge, and on, like for instance on the FG 5 Yamahas, they have an inlaid wooden pickguard, so that could be linseed oiled as well. Anything that's raw wood. And other than that, I don't clean guitars. Guitars require a patina, and it takes years to build one. But unless you drop like cat shit on it or something, wipe that off. But I mean, don't be cleaning your guitars all the time. You don't have to. They're designed to get a patina and collect a little bit of grunge, and it helps them age. And everyone, clean it once a year. Wipe it down with something. Don't be cleaning your guitar all the time. It probably does more damage than good. But the conditioning of the fretboard, bridge, and any raw wood is invaluable. It's a great thing. Linseed oil is the king. Who's next?
Joe.
Brother Joe. Say it. Come on, say it! Oh, sorry.
Oh dear. What do you think of the Ibanez Advantage bridge pins?
What?
Ibanez Advantage bridge pins.
Ibanez Advantage. I never heard of them. Where's my pen?
Oh.
Something for me to look up. Ibanez Advantage bridge pins. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they're probably something man-made or either metal. Bridge pins have a lot to do with good guitar sound.
What do you mean?
Bean agrees. There's nothing I hate worse on a guitar than plastic fucking bridge pins. And this guitar has plastic pins, and I'm not replacing them yet, but I will replace them with Tusk pins, because Tusk, in my opinion, has all of the good qualities of bone without the dangers of bone. Bone, for any part of the guitar, nut, saddle, or bridge pins, bone deteriorates. It's a porous, highly porous material. So it deteriorates, degenerates over time. So if you have bone bridge pins, eventually they're going to snap off in your hand, and your saddle will eventually crack, or the strings will wear down in the grooves, and you'll have grooves in your saddle. Your nut, if it's bone, the same thing. The vibration of the string will gradually eat that notch until it's laying on the fretboard. Tusk doesn't do that. Tusk has all the tonal qualities, sonic qualities of bone without the drawbacks. So, and another thing, for bridge pins, I've used solid brass bridge pins that were made by, I believe, D'Addario, and I liked them. I loved them. Their metal bridge pins are, the school is out on those, whether or not they're really that shit hot or not. But I think they're kind of good. I've had them in several guitars, and I was very impressed with the slight edge in the top end you get from them. But there's another school of thought too that metal in that hole through the bridge plate damages the bridge plate and the bridge holes because it's metal, and it's being vibrated by the strings, and and the metal doesn't give, but wood does. So it could potentially enlarge your bridge pin holes, or your bridge plate holes, or your arse hole, or wherever you put them.
If used incorrectly.
If used incorrectly. So there you go. I'll look those up, Joe. Ibanez is an interesting company. They come up with a lot of very innovative things. So I'm not surprised to hear this about this product. Ibanez Advantage bridge pins. Okay, I'll look it up and I'll tell you next week. Who's next?
I say it's a little quiet. I'm gonna try moving the phone. We don't have a mic here in the house.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Is right.
We'll try moving this closer.
I'm trying to talk louder. Hi. Hi.
I can only see it from here up.
Okay, good. That's all I need. I hope that's better. It's the best we can do under the circumstances. We don't have any studio equipment in the house. I'm hoping against hope that this is my last week in the house. I'll be over there next Wednesday, hopefully, if I can get up the stairs. I just can't get up the stairs. I can get up them, but just can't get down. I don't even know if I can get up. I'm just going to sit here and drink. All right, who's next?
A super chat from Jeff.
Jeff Gallant.
Yes. Is it normal to have a guitar with two nuts?
Well, if you don't have two nuts, you got problems.
There you have it.
Is it normal to have a guitar with two nuts?
I think it was a joke.
Well, no, it's not. 'Cause
No?
you could have two nuts.
Really?
Some people carry two nuts and two saddles, right? Depending on. So guitars swell and contract. So in the wintertime, they shrink, which means your action could go way high. The top could fall, and the fretboard could shrink, so that you'd put your lower nut on it in the winter, and your higher bridge on it. And then in the summer, when it's humid, the guitar swells and the neck re-inflates, so you put your higher nut on and your lower saddle. So I know all kinds of people that do that. So you may have tried to make a joke, but the truth of the matter is you can actually have guitars that come with two nuts, or people that get a second nut made and a second saddle made, just to compensate for the seasons. So there's my two nuts worth.
Next is Tim Bennett.
Tim Bennett, are you still in India, boy?
I think so.
We love you. Thank you for coming. It's 8 million o'clock in the morning over there.
Or
So awesome.
3, I think, maybe.
So awesome that you do this with us.
How does a cedar top compare with a spruce top?
Well, cedar is lighter, thinner, more prone to cracking and stuff, but I love cedar tops. They're very warm, very fat and round sounding. They don't have a lot of brittle middle point on them, and I love them. Love cedar top guitars, and I don't even own one right now, which is surprising for me. I usually have one in the herd, but I haven't had one in the herd for, I want to say, like probably 10 years. And I'm not sure why. I just haven't come across one that I liked. But I've had some doozies, some just horrendously good cedar top guitars, and you'll find a lot of makers don't use it because of that. It's very difficult to work with. It's very fragile. So it's yeah. If you can get yourself a good cedar top guitar, I don't give a shit who makes it. It's going to be a nice sounding guitar. It might not be the best guitar in the world, depending on who the maker is, but the cedar top adds a lot to the tone of a guitar. The volume, the tone, the projection, the roundness of the notes, the warmth, the color of the chords, like very, very good sounding wood. Very good. Thanks for the question. I hope you're doing all right over there, buddy. We love you. Thanks for being with us every week. Who's next?
The Happy Knot.
Happy Nakanata.
What is the difference between a good quality bright violin versus a violin that would be considered tinny? Also, I have heard some people describe really high-end violins as tinny.
Violin questions are incredibly difficult because, let me just put it this way. If you're paying under $1,000 for a fiddle, you're probably buying a piece of shit. It's just that simple. There's very seldom that you ever find a real fiddle, a violin that is good enough to play, to make records with and tour with and stuff. And that's going to be under $1,000. So if you buy a cheap fiddle, it's not going to sound like anything. It's going to sound like a toy. But with that being said, the problem is that I could pick up a $5,000 fiddle and play it and sound like shit and hand it to another guy who has a different technique and a different bow, and he could play it and sound like God. So there's just no way to quantify violence. There isn't. People think there is, but there's not. Because, like for instance, we all have heard probably Jerry Holland play the fiddle. I spent years with that man, on the road, in his house, in hotel rooms, driving we did a lot of things together, me and that man. He was one of my closest friends. I used to play his fiddle and I would sound like boiled goat shit. And that violin was incredible, but he was the only one that could make it sound like that. And that's the truth of violin. You can't, one person, it doesn't matter what the fiddle is. You got to find the fiddle that you sound the best on, and you're never going to be able to do that. You cannot buy a fiddle sight unseen, unless you are a master fiddle luthier that can actually, when you get the violin, if there's things wrong that need to be changed, you can do them correctly, and that so it'll stay together, right? And there's so few people that can do that. I don't even have a guy right now that can fix violins that I would even trust. The only guy that I know of that I've ever taken my violins to is a gentleman up in River Bourgeois, Cape Breton, named Johannes Stern. Call him the German, and he's the greatest fiddle man I've ever known. And he's from the Black Forest in Bavaria. Learned in the Mittenwald school, and he builds violins, does bow re-airs, fiddle repairs, fiddle restoration. This is one guy, and he's like he must be getting close to 70. He's not doing it anymore. So you just can't, don't take anybody's word about fiddle. If you're going to buy a fiddle, go find the fiddle and play it. And you might go there saying, I'm buying this $3,000 fiddle. And you go there and play it, and you play the $500 fiddle, you sound better on it. Buy the $500 fiddle. It's just that simple. There's no other way to quantify it. There's no... easy categorization. There's none of that stuff because one guy might say the fiddle's tinny because he plays tinny, and I could play it and it doesn't sound tinny, or I could take his bow and play it and it sounds tinny. It's the bow is 50% of the violin. If your bow isn't matched to the violin will sound like shit. You have to have the right kind of bow, and you don't know what that is initially. You can try different things. You can try wood. You can try graphite. You can try, all a hex bow opposed to a round bow. Like all these different things. So you've got to experiment and figure all that out. You just can't go because that fiddle's $5,000. It's going to sound great because it's not. It might sound great with Itzhak Perlman playing it, but not you or me. So there you go. It's a hard answer. There is no answer to that. Some fiddles sound the way they sound because of the hands that they're in, and not necessarily because of how they're made. Might sound great in your hands. So there you go. Next, Kirsten.
Super chat from Jeff Hawthorne, North Carolina.
Mr. Hawthorne from North Carolina. I love North Carolina.
In your opinion, is there a Martin made in the last 15 years worth buying that has a Sitka top and mahogany back and sides? Thanks.
Absolutely, I had one, and it was the Gordon Lightfoot Memorial. It was actually I believe Adirondack. No, it might have been Sitka, but it was definitely mahogany back and sides with D18. The problem is that they only built 61 of them. And I had number 55, and it was stolen from me. And so that's one that's most definitely a Martin that just is incredible. But again, there's only 61 of them on the planet, and it's from the custom shop, right? I think that Martin does a better job of D18s, which are mahogany, than their other guitars, and I think it's because of the mahogany. And they're lighter built, they're better braced. I've played more nice D18s in the past 15 years than 28s, or even 35s and 41s. Like the 18s are my favorite. If I was gonna buy a Martin, if I had to buy one, I would buy an 18. That would be my choice because of the mahogany. And I've played some really nice 18s over the past 15 years. Now, mind you, some of them are just outrageously priced. And if you watch my channel, you know that I'm just, permanently pissed off at Martin over that. And it's not necessary. They could make those guitars affordable for players. And make their big money out of their custom shop and their limited editions and all those things. That the 18 should be the working man's guitar. Anybody should be able to buy an 18 for a couple $1,000. That's my opinion. If Yamaha can build an FG5 that sounds just about the one I have sounds better than an 18 in my opinion, for $2,000 Canadian and $1,300 US, there's no reason why Martin can't build a D18 for $2,000. And if like I said, over the last 15 years, that's been my favorite guitar of Martin's is the 18s. So if they're all, I think they're worth the money, even though they're a bit overpriced. Well, they're really overpriced. But if you find one that you love, I would steer you towards an 18 before I'd ever tell you to buy a 28 or a 35 or any of that stuff. The 28s are becoming too generic, and they just got no personality, and they're coming off the line not in good shape, not in my opinion. And that's bullshit. Spend that kind of money and you can't get you get a guitar, if something goes wrong with it, you send it back and they won't fix it and they blame the consumer, and it's just, I can't stand for that shit. So anyhow, D18 all the way. I totally agree. Go ahead.
Scotch makes you saucy.
What? Yes, it does.
Next is Joe. Another question from Joe.
Joe.
What are your thoughts on the Rickenbacker 330 12-string semi-acoustic?
That would be Lennon's guitar, I think. I love it. Those things are amazing. I've always wanted one, but I don't buy one. I see them all the time. They're all over the place. You always see Rickenbackers around, 12-string Rickenbackers a lot. Long McQuaid carries them. But I can't justify buying one because I would never use it enough. And so it remains missing from my stable. But god damn, they sound good. That's my brother Bob's favorite sounding guitar too. That's my favorite guitar is a Ricky 12. And yeah, one day, you know, you never know. One day I might buy one, but it's doubtful because Ginger would kill me. Because have a guitar is just useless. Sit there and she'd go, "Why'd you buy that?" And I'd pull it up the wall and go, "Because of this." And then I play the one chord and put it back on the wall, and that'd be it. So there you go.
Gillette Wilkinson is next.
Gillette Wilkinson. That's the name of two different razor companies.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wilkinson and Razor?
Wilkinson Sword. Yeah, Gillette Wilkinson. That's a name for two. It's got to be a fake.
Yeah, maybe he really likes shaving.
Okay, all right.
How do you focus on just one song when you want to learn it? Interesting question. I try to stick to one song, but I hear some other great one and it kind of distracts me, so I want to learn that too. Any advice? A timely question.
It is a very timely question because I just spent the last, how many days? What?
3.
I've seen more like 5. At least half the time I've been here, been working on that.
Maybe. I don't think so.
But, okay. I'll tell you how I do it. I pick something that's so goddamn hard I can't concentrate on anything else. That's how I've always done it. Is when I learn something that's so far above my normal that I have to give it 100% of my attention, and I struggle through it, and I get it piece by piece by piece, and as the pieces come together, I get happier and happier, and it just draws me into the tune even more. I can't stop. Like I've been practicing a tune. Been working on a tune for 4 or 5 days now, like pretty well non-stop, 4 hours a day or more. Just in the room, locked in the back bedroom, playing this thing over and over and over and like just, and I don't mind it. That's how I've always learned, is I grab a hold of something and just won't let go of it until it becomes second nature muscle memory. So that's how I do it. If you get distracted, perhaps you're just not picking a hard enough piece of music. You know, double check yourself. Make sure you're actually learning it correctly. If it's coming to you too easy, you might be doing it wrong. Go back and double check really carefully that you're doing it the way that the person you're learning it from is doing it. You know, use YouTube and slow YouTube down, or get tablature or anything. Just double check what you're doing, because if you get distracted and you know, fall off the learning wagon train there, you might not be challenging yourself enough. So that's how I get by it. That's how I've always get by it. I've always picked stuff that was nearly goddamn impossible, and that will keep your attention real well. At least always has mine. So, who's next?
Got a super chat from Cam.
Cam McMaster's back in the house.
He just says, "How are you now?"
Well, I've been better, Cam, but I got scotch, and I got scotch in my String Theory cup.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
Oh yeah.
I think next Wednesday we're gonna announce our String Theory merch situation. The first thing that's going to be sold is String Theory shot glasses, customized, engraved with this. So there'll be a whole bunch of information come out on that, and our agent / management up in Ontario's doing it for us. So they're centrally located in Ontario. So that's good for all of North America. So you'll put your orders into them. They'll ship. You'll pay them. They'll ship it to you. we're gonna do a bunch of stuff: t-shirts, hats. But the shot glasses, we already saw them, and they're awesome.
We should make a shot glass that says "Anonymous goes."
Yes. Yeah, we have to do one of those. I haven't said that yet tonight, so nobody got a drink yet.
That's true. We're all
I'm
parched.
the only one who's drinking. Everybody's parched. Okay, so on and on it goes. All right, who's next?
Super chat from Jeff Gallant.
Jeff Gallant.
Have you ever tried to play Lightfoot's it's moving in a window pane tune? And how do you recommend taking steps to learn finger picking that unforgettable song?
Finger picking the unforgettable song.
This song, in a window pane.
I don't know that song. That's scary.
That's strange.
I don't know that song. I've never heard of that song. That's a Lightfoot song. I thought I knew every Lightfoot song ever written. What's it called?
In a window pane.
I've never heard that before. It doesn't surprise me. He wrote 300 songs. I have all his records in vinyl. It might be something I just overlooked. I'll look it up. Gordon Lightfoot was a very simplistic but effective guitar player. And he sort of invented, between him and Paul Simon, he invented this very effective percussive fingerstyle pattern, which is very simple. You hear him do that all the time, and all it is it's Travis style, right? The thumb is just going, and he's adding in the. Hear the same. Hear Paul Simon do the same thing, you know, on the Boxer, and Paul Simon was a tremendous guitar player as well, but Lightfoot was so effective with that. He just so effective. He did things that were just brilliant inside that one pattern, and he made it work all the time. And like he did some really cool things, like when he did "Walking in My Sleep." I hear you walking and talking in my sleep, in your sleep. It's a chorus that's beautiful. He did this. A one note chord, right? He had all that sensibility in his guitar playing. He made the bass lines work all the time in his favor. And but I love that. Like this, it's almost Jesus, Jack. Whew. It's almost symphonic, the way he thought about guitar. But it's the basic pattern. That's his basic pattern he used for everything. So, you know, he did play around with other stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's in this song here would be no different. He didn't really stray too far from that because it worked so good. And all he did to make it sound different was use different chord voices, unexpected voices, and making bass lines move around where they normally wouldn't move, right? And he was a master of that. One of the greatest guitar players ever, in my opinion. Most effective, one of the most effective guitar players I've ever heard. And he's not well known for that, but he should be. And his flat pick rhythm on the 12 string is just fucking brilliant. Like there's never been anybody ever that could keep rhythm on a 12 string like Gordon Lightfoot. Nobody. I don't even know what he did. I can't even. I'm a guitar player. I've studied him for 45 years, and still I can't quite get what he was doing. There was something about the way he approached flat pick rhythm on the 12 string that just transcended the guitar. He became a rhythm player and a drummer all at the same time, right? And Jack snoring. So, who's next?
Robert Barksdale.
Robert.
Barksdale.
That's a new fella.
So I'm a beginner guitar player taking a master music method. I have no plans of playing in front of an audience. I've ordered an FG5, figuring if I ever need to amplify, I put in a K&K. What do you think?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful choice. You could also get the FGX5, which has their proprietary pickup in it, which is incredible. Incredible. Very good pickup. Which gives you also, it is a blender. It has a mic and a piezo in it. Blender, bass and treble volume. That's it. And so you have that option as well to buy the FGX5. If you get the FG5, straight FG5, you can never go wrong using K&K. K&K Pure Mini is without a doubt, and I've been saying, I say this probably once a week on the channel, and I have been saying it for 15 years, is the best pickup system that's ever been designed for acoustic guitar. There's no way around it. So, yeah, you can't lose, and it's also the cheapest option. They're very inexpensive, and once they're in for good, and there's no breaking down and no problems and no batteries and no bullshit. It just always works. So, and it will translate that guitar flawlessly. Plugged in, it'll just be mind-boggling, because they really translate what the guitar is really like. And the FG5s are just incredible instruments. So, good on you. Good on you. Cheers, and we missed a week of Master Music Method because I couldn't go up to the studio. We usually film on Thursdays, but we're going to take tomorrow off again just to let my leg heal a couple more days, and then Saturday I'm going to put all my braces and everything on, try to get up the stairs to the studio so I can film a lecture for Master Music Methods. We've missed 1 week, and we haven't missed a week in months. I'm putting up a lesson a week on 4 different instruments, so anyhow, hang in there with us. There's lots of material there, so I'm sure it'll keep you busy, even though we just miss a day. But yeah, okay. Thank you. Cheers. Who's next?
We got a super chat comment from Tim Bennett.
Tim Bennett.
Says, thanks for giving me a reason to set my alarm for 3:30 a.m. every Thursday morning. You the man.
Oh, bless your heart, man. I can't believe you do that, but we really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. It's wonderful, wonderful. All the way we're working in India. Gets up at 3:30 in the morning for us. Cheers, buddy.
Next we got a super chat question from Aaron McDaniel. I bought an RD318 and it sounds incredible. What are your thoughts on the RO series?
I'm waiting for. I have the RO328, which I love. I had the RD328, the Dreadnought 328, which I passed on. It went to Glenn and it was sold, but not because I didn't like it, but I have an abundance of Dreadnought guitars, and I like the small body better. I like the RO328, and now I'm currently waiting on the 318, the RD318. On everyone, I've seen it online, and I was speaking to Ashley Atz down in Nashville there a few weeks ago, and I'm waiting. That one's on its way to me, and I am super excited about that guitar. As you guys all know, I'm a massive Boucher head. I've got my Gallagher, I've got my Yamahas, but like these Recording Kings, this is a Series 11, and I haven't been able to keep my hands off this guitar since I got it. I have this one and the small body version of it, and they're just amazing. This is a great guitar. I've been playing it. I've been using this to practice on for the whole 10 days I've been locked in the house here. I can't get up to my other guitars, but I've fallen in love with this thing, and I can't wait to see that 318. I'm really excited about that. So I will get it, and there will be a review on it on the channel, on Guitar Stuff with John. Guitar Stuff.
With John.
And then we're gonna have a video on that, and I've got 2 more Yamahas to review that are super exciting because you're never gonna see them anywhere. You basically have to order them to get them. So I've been lucky enough that they've dropped them off here on loan to me, and so there's lots of stuff coming up. I just gotta get my ass up the stairs. That's the main thing. So we're just working on that. Maybe I'll drink some more of the scotch and try. It's not up there right now.
Bust your other knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Super chat from Cam.
Cam McMaster's back in the hoose.
Thank you, Kat. Is the songwriters group for members still on for next month?
Every month. It'll be a different day every month, just depending on my schedule. As we move into November, December, I'm going to be actually live gigging more. There's a Christmas tour developing with Dave Gunning, and there's solo shows I'm having to do, go out and play, which won't be that much fun anymore for me now, being crippled, but I'll get through them. I'll have to sit down on stage and have, get somebody to help me carry shit. But I'm busy November, December, so. But we will pick a date, and it will be announced, and you'll see it scheduled on YouTube. You'll get the notification for the members. We'll get the notification when the next one is. This last one I stressed. I really wanted to go over the concept of melody and chord progression and all that sort of stuff. But I think next week we're gonna finish that song we started, or next month. I mean, that song that we started needs finishing. So, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Next is Boucher J.
I'm assuming he owns a Boucher.
I hope so.
Sweet.
JP, what is your opinion on Elliott Capos?
Elliott Capos.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they are. I just can't remember. Elliott Capos. Just let me check real quick. They're not popping into my head right off the bat. I know all about them. I've even used them. I just gotta make sure I remember what they look like. Elliott Capos. There we go. Just a second now. Here we go. Oh yes, yeah. These are. Yeah, I've used these. These are page style capos. Now, I love that kind of capo because it has very personalized, any kind of page style thumb screw type capo, low profile, very thin frame, rigid, thin frame, is a great device. But my problem is that a lot of my guitars. 2 things. A lot of my guitars won't store the capo behind the nut. Because you're supposed to be able to just push those over the nut and tighten them a little bit, and they stay back here when you're not using them. But a lot of my guitars, the volute that they have in the back keeps it from going back there. So I have to take it off. That sucks, because they're hard to put on. They're complicated. You got to open them, put them over, hook the latch, and then screw them tight. The other thing that happens is I play capos all the way up to here. Most capos won't go beyond the 5th or the 6th or 7th fret. That's a serious problem for me because I capo up here sometimes, and so in order to get it up there, I'm gouging the side of the neck off to get it up, and they won't go. The only page style capo, Elliott style capo that I've been able to use is the G7 is my favorite of that type actually, because it's wide enough to go up the neck, and there was a wide version of the LR Baggs page style, but the G7 one, they're the Pro model. It's gold. I have one. I have two of them. I was given them in NAMM in Los Angeles, and I fell in love with those. So they're I don't know. It's all about. It's almost aesthetics, right? What you want them to look like. Whether they want them to be blingy, or black, or just silver, or just super slim, super out of the way. I think they're all great if you don't play above the fifth fret. So I do use them. I do use that type of. I don't have an Elliott, but I use those type of capos definitely from time to time, depending on whether or not I'm ever going to be up the neck with a capo, and whether there's no diamond in the back of my headstock that will keep it from going behind the nut for storage while I'm playing. If I have to take it off every time I'm not using it, that becomes a problem. So, yeah, sometimes I wouldn't use them on certain guitars. But as for the quality of them and the control they give you in your tone and your, like all those things, that they provide a lot of that, right? There's a lot of tone that comes from the type of capo you use. Those type of capos are real friendly to guitars. They don't take anything away from the guitar, the same as a big Kaiser or Shub rubber would do, which deadens a lot of the strings, kills a lot of the neck. The Page kills very little of the neck, which is important. So, and I keep saying Page, but that's because Page sort of was the first version of that idea. Elliott just perfected it, I think. And G7, I think, did a fantastic job of their version of it, and Baggs. But it's like I'm saying, all those companies, it's hard to choose between them because they're all pretty damn awesome. So, yeah, if you're having luck with the Elliott, stick with it because they're good capo.
A super chat from Jeff Gland.
Jeff's putting the money in there tonight. 25 cents a question.
Do you think it would be easier to learn a Lightfoot tune on a Yamaha Classical G55-1?
I would learn Lightfoot tunes on classical guitars just for the simple reason he didn't play one. I'm not saying you can't. There's no problem. I mean, you can do anything on a gut string. Look what Jerry Reed did. Jerry Reed played everything on a gut. But if you want the sound to be like Lightfoot, he only used steel string guitars. So, but I'm not going to tell you not to play a gut string because I love them. I got one. I got two of them. Actually, one of them signed by Lightfoot. And so it just depends on what you're doing, right? If you're doing that kind of fingerstyle, you're going to find out pretty quick that gut string don't have the bite you need to sound like Lightfoot. When he did the fingerstyle stuff, it had a lot of bite and a lot of clarity, and nylon strings just won't give you that. It'll be a lot easier to play probably on a gut string, but you should, if you want to do it like Lightfoot did, you need a steel string acoustic. That's sort of the way. But don't give up on the gut string because, like I said, anything can be done on anything. If you don't believe me, just go listen to 30 minutes of Jerry Reed. Tell me then what you can't do on a gut string guitar. So, there you go. Good luck. Who's next?
We got Nihat. Are brass nuts any good?
Back to the nuts again.
Mm-hmm.
Brass nuts? No. You never want to put metal anything when it comes to nuts and saddles. Metal is just not a good substance to conduct vibration. It's not. It's you're talking about putting metal against metal. It's a terrible way to get vibration. You want metal against something organic that will absorb all of the string vibration. Metal won't do that. Metal rejects it. That's it. Without, just out of pocket, gone. See ya, not taking that. So you can't. Metal nuts are no good. You might be able to use them on an electric guitar that you don't have any interest in you know, having any acoustic qualities being put forth by the instrument won't matter because it's an electric solid body, right? But on an acoustic, you can't put metal under the strings at the nut or the saddle. It just doesn't work. So, my opinion. Take that.
And next is a super chat from Everett Moore.
Everett Moore. I know Everett.
What are your thoughts on the latest acoustic modeling technology in the Fender Acoustasonic Telecasters and Strats?
Goddamn impressive. Goddamn impressive. I have played them in music stores, and if you're watching the channel, I just reviewed this new all solid Newporter that has blown my mind. They're making some guitars right now that are just stunning. And the Acoustasonic, they're freaky. They actually work. They actually sound like acoustic guitars. There's, I don't know how many. There's 5 switches, and each switch has 2 options. So you've got 10 sounds, 10 models in this guitar. Everything, like the first one is electric, you know, Tele and Strat, and the next one is Dreadnought and Folk, and then Jumbo and OM, and then Folk something and something, like it's just, and you can actually tell the difference. You can actually, like, it's freaked me out. The first time I ever tried one, I was freaked. I'd like to own one, but they're too expensive. Fender wanted to provide me one. I'd love to review it. Because I think it's, as impressed as I was with this Newporter, I think that those guitars, I don't think they're going to last. I don't think they're going to keep making them because they're so ahead of their time that I just don't think they're going to keep making them. But if you could buy one, because the only thing that I'm going to tell you, and maybe Fender wouldn't be happy if I said this, but I have to say it. I was in a Guitar Center in the States, and there was 2 of them there, and I wanted to play both of them and check them out. I was thinking about buying one, putting it on my Guitar Center credit card, and they pulled one out of the wall, and the spot where the switch was, the top was split. It happened in shipping, but the reason is the top is super thin, and there's just a very thin piece of Sitka over all that equipment, and it got pushed on, and the top split right along where that five pin selector was. So that's a danger. They're fragile. I really believe that they are. You wouldn't ever see any other guitar do that. And they made it fragile and thin to make it sound good. So it's not a mistake on their part. It's a decision that they made and designed, and it's definitely a danger. You can easily punch in the top of that guitar, I think, pretty easy. And we just don't want to take a look at Jack's genitals. But did you cover up your dick? No, Jack. Jack's awful proud of his cow. Okay. So, now we're going to go down to the old trivia question there, folks. I thought long and hard about this today. Struggled with it for hours, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to do this in honor of my best friend, Dave Gunning. Why are there so many... I can't do Kermit the Frog. Anyhow, we were laughing about that because Dave does the best Kermit the Frog impression ever. And he always does his Kermit the Frog impression singing Rainbow Connection. Who wrote Rainbow Connection? Everybody's Googling it. The guy who wrote this wrote so many songs for people, and we don't realize that he did.
We got a Bannock and Jam from Gammy Master.
What?
Bannock and Jam.
Bannock and Jam.
Paul Williams.
That's right. Who got that?
Ian Rossiter.
Ian Ross. Is Ian won yet?
I don't think so. I'm not positive. And Second is L Vegan Angel.
LV.
L Vegan Angel.
Oh, L Vegan Angel. Okay,
And he says no, he hasn't won yet.
cool.
Very
So Ian, you're gonna win the Fantasy Music Prize, which is in Halifax, Fantasy Music, Spring Garden Road, Halifax. Send me an email right now to jpcormier38@gmail.com, and you're gonna win the fantasy package, and that is a $25 gift certificate off anything in the store, plus a Yamaha Red Label T-shirt. And they might throw you a couple other things down there if you go see them, or they can send it out to you, whatever you need. And L Vegan Angel, you've won the G&G prize, which is $25 off of. Wait a minute now, am I right about that? Might
No.
be more than that. Let me double check. It sometimes changes every week because Glenn likes to switch things up. Yeah, we got so it's $25 off of any Recording King in the store, and if you buy a Boucher from him, he's only got a few left. He's getting more in. They're also at Fantasy, and Fantasy also carries all the handmade Yamahas and all that cool stuff. But if you go to Glenn, you buy a Boucher from Glenn, you get a free $125 custom Boucher strap from Levy's Leathers. So L Vegan Angel, send me an email right now to jpcormier38@gmail.com. I'll forward you on to Glenn. And you can either go there and visit and see the store and get your prize, or he'll ship it out to you, whatever you want, or you can do. Both of these shops are fantastic. They'll help you do whatever you want. So Ian Roster, your prize is from Fantasy. L Vegan Angel, you got the G&G prize this week. And that's about the end of the show. And we'll see you next Wednesday, hopefully from back in the place where we usually meet.
With the good sound and the good lights.